Hello and welcome to another Purveyor of Light Photoshop quick tip. Today we're going to have a little bit of fun here, improving our landscape photography. I got a shot here up on the screen, and how many times have we taken a great shot like this and looked up at the sky and said, oh, boy, the colors were just more vivid when I was there in real life, and the camera just didn't make the colors pop like they were there. And so I'm going to show you a quick and easy way where you can put a little painterly approach to your photos and bring those colors in that you so want. So let's hop right in. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the background layer, and that's for safety purposes. Command or Control J. Okay, and now on the duplicate layer, I am going to come down to the adjustment layers here, and I'm going to select a solid color. Okay, so now I have a new layer here with a solid fill, and I am going to pick a nice yellow. Okay, because I want a nice yellow in the sky. And again, what colors you use exactly, that's entirely up to you. That's for your taste. Okay, but I'm going to choose yellow here, and I'm going to add another adjustment layer, and I'm going to make another solid adjustment, and this one I'm going to use the reds, and so I'm going to give me a nice intense red, maybe about there, and I'm going to add another adjustment layer and another solid fill, and I'm going to go for the blues. Okay, so I'm going to put some blues in. Maybe about there. That looks like a good shade to me. And so now I have these three layers on top of each other. And I'm going to use these to painterly change the colors in the existing photo. And you're going to be amazed on how easy it is. Okay, so I'm going to select all three of these. Hold the shift key and then click on them, and I'm going to group them together in a group. Okay, so now we've got all three nice in a little group, and we'll just call this group color. Okay, all right, so now we'll open up this thing, and I'm going to turn off the blue and I'm going to turn off the red so that I can just work on the yellow right here. Now, what I want to do in the sky, okay, and I'm just going to show you here. In the sky, I want some yellow in the sky, because when I was there, it had yellow in the sky. So I'm going to put some yellow into that part of the sky. Now, how do I do that? Well, we use a technique called blend if, all right? So you can, anywhere where it's blank on the layer, just double click, okay? Make sure it's on the blank. Don't click on the name, otherwise you'll be renaming the layer. And we get this dialog box. And I want you to come down to blend if, all right? And it says this layer and then the underlying layer, okay? Now what we're coloring is the underlying error, okay? So we're going to be working with that slider. Now if I take the underlying layer slider and I remove it from the shadows, it's going to remove the yellow from the shadows. Okay, because right now we have the yellow over the entire image. So I'm going to slide this over and you'll watch the effect. We're making a mask based on light and darks. It's just fantastic. Watch as the detail comes back in. All right, now see how the yellows are being restricted? And how far do I go? This is totally up to what your tastes are. Now, you can see it's very harsh, right? The transitions from one area to the other. I want you to just hold the Alt key and click Alt or Option, and that splits the triangle. And now I can so-called feather the effect. Now, I should also preface this, everything I'm doing here, I'm going to do very heavy-handed, and that's because we're on YouTube, and YouTube's compression and that just doesn't, if I do subtle changes, it's not going to show up on the video to you. So what I'm seeing is I'm doing it heavy-handed deliberately so that you can get the idea. It's a technique I'm teaching you. All right, so now I've split that, and look how nice that looks. And we'll hit OK. All right. So now all we need to do is we need to change the blend mode of this color fill layer from normal to overlay. And look at that. Isn't that fantastic? Now we've introduced that color. Now, of course, everything is adjustable and everything is up to your taste because you're using your vision, right? I could drop the opacity if I would just want to drop the effect, okay? And again, but look at what I'm doing to the sky, all right? All right, so next step is the red layer. So I activate the red layer. And what do? I'm going to double click on a blank area. And there's your blend if. And I'm going to do the restriction on the red also. Okay. And how much I'm going to do, that's entirely up to you. All right. Once you're happy there, hold the Alt-Option key to split the splitter. And then feather that in. Okay. Okay. And don't worry if you don't get it right the first time. You can always come back in here and make these adjustments because they are adjustment layers. We're going to do the overlay blend mode. And there we are. Now look at what we're doing. We're introducing colors. And again, you're going to change the opacity if it's too strong. Okay. And now we're going to come up to the blues. Now the blues is going to be a different case. I want to introduce the blues into the shadows, not into the highlights. So double click on the blank area to open up blend if, and instead of taking the slider this way, which is puts it into the darks to the lights, right? I am going to remove the brights. Okay, and you're going to see now that the highlights, I'm introducing the blues. Okay, into areas. And again, hold the Alt-Option, split it, and feather that in. And you see I'm actually painting and controlling, almost like making masks, my thing. So there we go. I made my blues, changed my blend mode to overlay, and there I go. I'm making a painterly effect. And I can reduce the opacity. Okay. And again, look at what we're doing about introducing colors. Now, again, I remind you, because I know I'm going to get emails on this, I am deliberately going heavy-handed so that you can see the changes on the YouTube video. Okay, I would never go this extreme. It's the technique I'm teaching you. You're going to control the amount when you do it on your photos. Okay? But this is how we introduce it. And you also notice, because we did it this way, we're also introducing these color shifts in the water reflections as well. Okay? So we're actually working on both. Now, again, you'll be much less heavy-handed than I am with the color things. But that's the technique I wanted to teach you. Okay? How to add color to your thing. And then if there's an area where you say, oh, I don't want to do this, right? It blocked up the shadows. No problem. Okay? No problem at all. All you have to do is bring up the layer. Let's turn this into a smart object. Okay, so now it's a smart object. Now we can open up the smart filters. And I'm going to come up to Camera Raw. And Camera Raw, of course, is, almost identical to what Lightroom does non-destructively. And I'm just going to work with the image. Let's see, I want to open up the shadows a little bit. So we'll put up on the basic channel. And I'll open up the shadows. Okay. Maybe I'll deepen the blacks a little bit. Bring the vibrance in there and hit OK. And there, you see how those adjustments are made. So I can make adjustments, and I can come right back in and do adjustments. Okay. Now what do? I just turn around and I can change the opacity. I can come up on the color and change the opacity of all three. And I'm going to I hope this shows through on the video, but that would be a more realistic adjustment. So if you turn around and see what I have now versus the way it was, and there. Okay, so there's your technique. Okay, and it teaches you how to use the blend if. It's a very, very powerful technique. It's one that you can have an awful lot of fun with adjusting your photos. So there you go. Till next week, you guys take care.